there everyone, it's Kathy and welcome back here on my YouTube channel, Kathy's Random Acts of Stampin'. I'm so glad that you tuned in today. It seems that the quilt cards have been the rage on the internet lately. So of course I need to jump on whatever the fad is, and you can see that I did here. And these are two cards with the same pattern, but the difference is on this blue one, of course this one's not complete because I haven't done a sentiment for it, but I just decided I wanted to come on and go ahead and show you how easy it is to make these. And it can be a scrap buster. You do not have to go in. It's sort of like pieceworking a real quilt. You know, a lot of times back when quilts were made, it wasn't for decorative reasons like it is today. They were made from scraps of worn out clothes. You know, mothers would do whatever they needed to do to make coverings to keep warm during the winter. So the Americana quilt was basically scraps of whatever they had on hand, and I thought, what better way than to use some scraps of paper to make these. So I chose a different palette, and this is from the Textured Chic, I believe. Let me check the name of that just to make sure. It is Textured Chic, and it's a beautiful pack of paper with a lot of gold foil in it, and I thought that would be so pretty to use on this particular card. And this pattern that I'm using is like a star. There is another one that is a pinwheel that's a little bit more twisted than this one, and I may end up doing one of those too. But the difference in these two is these squares I cut at 1 1/4. These are 1-inch squares. The 1-inch squares, I think, allows you to really showcase your quilt square better than this, because you can see once you put a sentiment on there, you're covering up a good portion of your actual design. So I think I'm gonna, from this point on, unless I make a bigger card, I'm gonna go with the 1-inch square, and everything here is basically 1-inch pieces. If you look closely, a half of a triangle, 2 halves would be 1 square, and that's another square. So we know that these pieces, we need 2 squares. We need 2 squares of this color here because these are quarter squares. So this would be one of those, and this would be one of those, and together it would be one of these. I hope I'm not confusing y'all. But then you're going to need 5 of whatever your corner square is, because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you've got these little quarter pieces here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 equals 1. So that would be 5 of those. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do. I'm going to leave this card here so you can see the process of me cutting my pieces. I want this one here to be on my outside edges, so we already know I need 5 1-inch squares. Now I've already cut these in 1 inch this way, so all we have to do on our trimmer is just line these up at 1 inch, and I'm going to use the left side of my trimmer for my 1-inch mark. It's just easier for me to push them over this way. Oops, I slid that just as I put my arm down. So make sure you are holding it tight, and that's 1. I turned that over, didn't I? I did. Okay, 1. We need 5 of these, so 1. And you want to try to get those on that, right on the 1-inch mark, because even just a fraction can throw you off. Now, will that make a difference? A little bit, but we're not going to worry about that. Just, you know, try your best to get those cut on the 1 inch. So that's 3 and 4 and 5. Now we know on this 5th piece that we need to cut it into 1/4 inch pieces. So this one right here, I'm gonna lay it in my trimmer on the diagonal, and I'm gonna bring my blade right up to the center of it, and I'm gonna sink my blade and slice up and down. And then this piece, I'm gonna take it all the way up to the top, lining that up into my track, and I'm gonna go up and sink my blade in the middle up and down. That's giving me those little pieces that I'm going to need. And then we're going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to take it all the way up to the top of the trimmer, and I'm going to sink my blade right in the middle, slice up and down. So now we have all of our outer pieces done. So I'm going to lay these over to the side, and then we're going to go with this piece. Now this piece I want to be my center. When I say my center, I want it to be the prominent color in the middle. So for this one, we are going to cut one. We need two of these. We need one for the center that's going to be a 1-inch square. And I'm going to, I'll have all of this on my PDF tutorial. Then we need another one that's going to be cut just like we did that last one. We're going to quarter it. So 1 inch. And now we're going to quarter this just like we did before. We're going to put it in the trimmer, lining it both the top and the bottom peak into your trimmer track, and then slice it. And then we're going to slide this one up to the top, making sure that that peak is lined up right there in the track, and slice it. And then we're going to do the same thing with this piece. Once you make one of these, you will see just how easy it is. And like I said, talking about a scrap buster, this is such a good option for really using up your scraps. Now I'm going to stack these over here. And now we're going to use this piece. Now this piece is going to be these ones right there. So I just basically need 4 of those cut in half. I mean 2 of those cut in half to give me 4 pieces. So 1 inch. And another one at 1 inch. And then, and look, we can get a lot more out of this one. Or we could turn it over and use those colors and have a totally different look. So, I mean, the possibilities in making these quilt cards are absolutely endless. And they're so much fun to make because you watch the colors come together, and it is absolutely beautiful to see this. Oops, I didn't get that one quite cut all the way, did I? You know what? We're just going to grab my snips, and I'm going to just snip that right up to that corner. You know what? This one's off. I think I can make it work. I don't know. We got plenty. I'll tell you what, let's cut another piece. Okay, now that we've got these 2 pieces, all we have to do with these 2 is just slice them in half. So I'm laying them in the track. I'm going to sink my blade in the middle, slice up and down. And the same thing again with this one. And those pieces are ready. So now we are ready to put our piece together. Now what we need a piece that is 3 by 3 to glue everything down to. And I'm going to just grab a piece of cardstock that's not real heavy, just a piece of like basic white. I've heard some people say that they've used like copy paper for this, but we are going to do just this very lightweight cardstock, and I'm going to cut it 3 by 3. And we know that our squares are 1 inch, so 1, 2, 3. That's 3 inches that way. 1, 2, 3, 3 inches this way. So that's why I'm choosing the 3 by 3. So 3 inches. By 3 inches. And then that's all we need to put our quilt together on. Alright, so let's pull in all of our pieces. And I'm going to show you how easy this is. Now there's all of my quilt pieces right here. So there's my 3 colors. Now we know that we want, which one we want in the middle, but we're going to start up here at the top, and our solid color is the one that we want to put down first. So I'm going to leave this card laying here so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So I know that I want one piece right here. So what you want to do when you line these up is you want to make sure that you're all the way to the top and all the way to the right, I mean the left edge. So you just want to put that on there where it's perfectly straight. And if you want to lay it out first before you glue everything, you can. And to do that, we know that this is our center piece, and this is going to be our piece that comes over here. So this one is going to be like this, like this, yeah, like that, and then this one's going to go in like that. So that's going to make your second square. But let's go ahead, before we glue anything down, let's go ahead and put this corner piece down. And I like to work across the top, and you don't need a whole lot of glue, just a little bit goes a long ways. So what you want to do is just adhere that nice and straight. And that's why liquid glue works so good, because you have a little wiggle room. And if you turn it over, you can look at the back side and tell that you've got that on there just where it needs to be. Now we're going to do this square. So like I said a while ago, we know that we're going to need a piece of this that's going to go there. That's this color there. And we're going to need one of these that's going to go like this. I'm going to go ahead and put this piece down because I know that it's going to go right up to the edge there. Now the little pieces are a little tedious because they are so small, but you can do this. So just put a little glue in there, come up to the top, and glue that on. Oops. And then we can take this piece, and it's going to go right like that. And then that means that this piece is going to go right here, like so. And you want to kind of push everything up so that it's actually in there. I'm going to put this bigger piece down first. And I'm going to line that up directly across the bottom. Looks good. And now this piece should drop right in here like that. So let's put some glue on it. And once you start building these, they will go a lot faster. Once you know where your pieces go, you won't have to sit and figure that out. It'll just kind of flow. Now we need another one of these to go right here, so not a problem. We're going to put some glue on it. And let's put that like this. Now this is where if you start to get any little bit of an overhang, don't worry about it. We can trim it off. Oh, that didn't go up where I wanted it. Now let's go up. There we go. Good thing about liquid glue, we can move it around a little bit, so that works out perfect. So now here we know we need another one of these blue ones that's going to go, or the greenish, that's going to go right there. So I'm going to glue that down. And like I said, you'll have a picture of the card on the PDF tutorial as well as on my blog post. And there on my blog post you can get the PDF. You can actually print that off to use at your discretion, and it'll be a great way for you to be able to put one of these cards together, because everything you'll need to know will be right there. Now that piece goes there, another one of our outside pieces. So we'll put, oops, we'll put this down right here. And I've got glue on my work surface. This would probably be a great time to bring in a silicone craft sheet. See if I can find one. And then down here is going to be this one. So that's going to go in right there. This will all start to make sense in a minute. Once we get that middle square in, then I think everything else will kind of come together. So let's slide. Oh, I put the glue on the wrong side, y'all. Ah. Okay. Let's grab another one and let that one dry a little bit. Pay attention when you're gluing these down. Let me wipe my fingers. I've got glue on my fingers, so now everything's wanting to stick to my hands. I'm going to clean my glue top off. This is where my little alcohol wipes come in so handy. And y'all seen me use these quite often, and I make those. And there's a video on my channel. I'll see if I can remember to link that so that you can see how I make those. I just buy the wipes from Walmart, and I open it up and I put a bottle of, almost a bottle of rubbing alcohol into the pack of wipes. Okay, that goes right there. Now this one comes in, and this is where I think it will all start to make sense. That is the piece that's going to really bring everything together. Now you can see that peak came off a little bit to the edge. Like I said, don't fret over that if your pieces don't fit perfectly. Once we run this through an embossing folder, trim our edges, you will not know that. So let's set that in there just like that. Now we're going to work this one. So this one is going to be one of these up here. So that's the piece I put the glue on the wrong side. So all it did by wiping it off, it made it really thick and a little more sturdy, I guess would be the word. So we're going to put this one in right here. Again, I'm going to wipe my fingers. It's a good idea to keep something to wipe your fingers on as you're building these, because you do get very sticky. I mean, it's the process. So then this one goes right here. Pull y'all up a little bit so you can see better. And just get that one in there nice and tight. And then we need one of those outside edges, and that's this one. Little glue on it. And pop that in right there. And then we're going to need another one of the outside pieces here. So just go ahead and put some glue on this. And sit it down just like that. And then we need this piece here. So we'll put glue on the back of it. And it's going to go down like so. And then we need one of our outside pieces. No, this is not the outside, it's this one. Yeah, this one here. This one is going to go right like that. So let's put glue on the back of it. And sometimes if you want to, you could just run a little glue on here like this, and then you would already have glue on here, like just a little bit off, and then you can sit your pieces down into the glue like that, and like this. And our last piece is on the corner. And there is our little star, and look at all that foil. It's so pretty. So what you want to do is, I like to leave this sit for a few minutes because it is very damp with all the glue that we used. So just, give it a moment. So what I'm going to do while I'm letting that dry, I'm going to go and grab what accent color I want to put behind this. And I'm thinking I want to go with maybe the Flirty Flamingo. I see little shades of Flirty Flamingo in there, and I think that would really bring out all the other colors. So I'm going to go grab a couple of sheets of cardstock and see what color I want to use, and we'll be right back. Alright, so I went ahead and pulled some colors here, and these are 3 colors that actually coordinates with the paper pack. And I have Mango Melody, Blushing Bride, and Pool Party. And what I did is I laid these down on each one of these colors. This one kind of washes it out. I thought this one was a little too brass, but watch what happens when you put it on the Pool Party. I really like it on the Pool Party. So I think it was actually a toss-up between the Blushing Bride, but I don't think it gives me enough of contrast, or this one, which I think is wonderful. So we're going to cut this down to 3 1/4 by 3 1/4, and that will give us what we need to put our little quilt block on. Now I took my long scissors and I went and cut just enough to trim off the edges and make sure everything is nice and squared. So that is something, if you need to do it, don't hesitate to trim off any little pieces that, did I cut that at 3? I did. Okay, we'll make it 3 by 3. This will make a good piece to put another piece on, but I needed it to be 3 1/4, so let me grab another piece of Pool Party. And I got that out of my scrap bin, so it's no big deal. I've got plenty of scraps, so 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. Now this will fit on here beautifully, but before we put it down on this, I want to run it through an embossing folder, because that really does make the world of difference when you're making one of these. I'm going to grab an embossing folder, and I'll be right back with that, and then we will decide exactly what color card base we're going to make. And I think the petal pink will be beautiful on this one. I'm thinking I might do a gold foil and then the petal pink for our accent, and I think this card's going to be beautiful. I hope y'all are enjoying it as much as I am. I think it's so pretty. So totally different from this one, and different from the larger one. And like I said, if you want to make the larger squares, you do the same thing I did here, but you just cut them at 1 1/4 by 1 1/4 rather than 1 inch by 1 inch. So that's the only difference in making it bigger. I'll be right back. I'm going to go ahead and grab some the pieces I need for this, an embossing folder, and when we come back we'll put this card together. Be right back. Okay, I got all my pieces together. Here's the embossing folder that I'm going to use on this one. On this one I use the one called Pretty Flowers, and the new embossing folders that come in the pack of 3, I use the one with the star pattern on this one. So this one I think I'm going to try the cane weave. And when you put these in, you want to make sure that you put the where your Stampin' Up! Logo is, make sure you put your piece facing up. And I like to line mine up using the line that's right there. And then just close your folder up. And let's move everything out of our way. grab our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Now I have to bring up the big one for this because these are not adaptable with the smaller embossing folder. Now this is a 3D embossing folder, so all I'm going to need is my number 1 plate, let's see if I can get that, my number 1 plate, my embossing folder with my piece in it, and then the number 4 specialty plate over top of it. So I'm just going to lay that in, and I'm going to crank it through. And that should be all we need for this. And put my plates back where they belong. And there is that beautiful, look at that beautiful texture. Isn't that beautiful? And when you run it through the embossing folder, it does amazing things. You no longer see any of the imperfections. It just looks beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down, and I'm just going to use regular liquid glue. I like liquid glue because it gets all into those nooks and crannies of the embossing folder, and I think you just get a much better adhesion with using liquid glue. Now I'm going to center this up as best I can. Give it a good press. I'm going to turn it over and just give it a good little pat right there. And now I did bring over a piece of the Blushing Bride, and this is my card base, and it's 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 4.25. And I wanted to play with the gold, so I wanted to see what it would look like on the gold foil. This I think is a little bit too much. When I went into my folder, if y'all remember me making, let's see if I can find it. When I made this card, I made a green one, and I cut the frame out of the gold, the solid gold, and this was what was left out. This was the piece that was left over, and I laid it on here and put this right up to the top, and look, it fits in there beautifully. I think I'm going to go with that. I like that. I don't know, it just, it kind of speaks to me. And you know how it is when you have something that speaks to you and you know that that's it? That's sort of the feeling I got with this. So I'm going to use that piece, and I'm going to go ahead and glue this piece on. I am going to bring over my silicone craft sheet, and I'm going to show you the die that I used to cut that. It is in the Desert Details, and it was what's left over after you cut this piece, this outer edge piece right here. This is the leftover of that. So never throw pieces away like this, because you never know when you can actually use them again. But it's that decorative piece right there, and it was what was left over after I cut this frame with these together. You can see where it has the little V's in it. It just it amazed me when I saw it, and I thought, this is going to work really well on this card, I do believe, and it did. So I'm going to be very careful, because foil doesn't like glue, glue doesn't like foil. They just don't get along at all. So I'm going to come around like so, and then I'm going to pick this up, hopefully not getting any glue on this gold. Let me bring that over so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to lay that in just like that. Alright, now we need to decide where we want this to land, whether we want it to be at the top and have a place here for our sentiment, or if we want it at the bottom and have a place up here for our sentiment, or if we want to center it kind of right there. I am really thinking that I want to center it, but yet I like the fact of it being up here and having a sentiment down here, so I think I'm going to go with that. I am going to pop this up on dimensionals because I think it makes it look very pretty. So I'm going to put, I know I want to put one in each corner and probably a couple in the middle. And let's go ahead and do one here and one here. Seems like an overkill for dimensionals, but when I make a card, I don't want to take any chances of it not staying together. So I go a little heavy on the dimensionals for that reason. And let's just make sure I got them all off, and I do. So now what I'm going to do is I want to make sure I bring this all the way up to the top. And sit it down just like that. Isn't that beautiful? And we can always do something down here as far as a, Jennifer called me earlier and I had my Bluetooth on, so when I was talking to her, so I need to take that off. I can actually hear what I'm saying much better. Alright, down here, I think I've been needing a lot of birthday cards, so I think I'm going to do a happy birthday, and I just can't decide if I want it to be just stamped right here or if I want to put it on something and pop it up. I love this happy birthday. I really think it would look pretty on something popped up. I'm actually thinking of cutting a banner out of the pool party that's a little smaller than this, but we can pop it up on dimensionals. So let me grab a piece of pool party. For some reason, I just think that might be cute. So here's a scrap, and you know, I love, love, love using scraps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp this on here about like that, and I'm going to do it in, I'm going to actually do it in Versamark. And we do not sell VersaFine at Stampin' Up, but whenever I want a very crisp image, I kind of turn to a pigment ink. Now remember, when using VersaFine, it is a pigment ink, which gives you a beautiful, dark, rich color, but it is pigment. So any of your blends, such as your any alcohol marker, whether it's your Stampin' Blends or whether you use Copic, Nuvo, whatever alcohol marker you have, you do not want to stamp an image and try to color it. I'm going to do a video on inks to help anyone that's new and don't understand the process of the different inks. I think that would be a very worthwhile video. I'm going to line that up. No, I'm not. Let's grab a die. And I'm going to grab my, let me find the ones I'm looking for. Stylish Shapes was the one I wanted, and I want to use one of these. This will be perfect. This one will work exactly the way I wanted it to. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue this down on here. Let me show y'all what I'm doing. I'm using this particular die and I'm positioning it exactly where I want it to cut, and I'm going to tape it on with my post-it flag so that it will stay in the position that I have it in. So with this one, we can actually bring up our little Stampin' Cut emboss machine because we're cutting a small piece, and I'm going to bring out my number 1 plate and 2 of my number 2 plates, And I have that one plate dedicated as a cut plate and one that's dedicated as a cover plate. So I'm going to put that on about like that, put this over it, and let's feed it through. Just like that. Now we can very gently pull this off. And pop this out, and look how pretty that is. And then we can bring this right to there, pop it up on some dimensionals, and I think we'll have exactly what I was looking for in this card. Isn't that gorgeous? Alright, so I'm going to turn that over. I'm going to grab my dimensionals, and I'm going to put one there, maybe one here, and one here. I'll peel those off. Bring this back over, and we are going to adhere this right about there. How pretty. Is that not gorgeous? Let me know what y'all think of this one. I think this might be one of the prettiest ones I've done yet. This one looks more elegant. This one's very homespun, and I still got to put a sentiment on this one. And then this one is just, I love the blues, so I can't say that I hate this one. I need to put some cardstock on the inside of these and stamp a sentiment on the inside, but you can use this for any type of occasion. It could be a birthday card, it could be a thinking of you card, it could be an anniversary card. You could, depending on the paper that you choose, you can make these in any style that you like. So here is all three of our cards. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so that you can see them all. And aren't they gorgeous? I'm going to put this one in the middle since this was the one we did today. I love the way these turned out. Let me know in the comments what you think of doing a quilt card like this, and let me know if you want to see some different patterns with quilt cards. The log cabin is a great one. There's so many that we can do that will be so gorgeous. So just let me know what you think, and if this is something that you might like to try. And if you do, make sure you put a picture of it up on our Facebook group. And if you haven't joined that group, please think about doing so. Just go over there and ask for permission or just a request to be a part of the group, and me or Jennifer, we are the two administrators, we will approve you immediately, and then you can come in and show us your beautiful projects as well. God bless and keep you, and thank you so much for tuning in today. If you're interested in any of the products that I used in making this card, all of the products will be listed on the PDF tutorial, and it is absolutely a pleasure to be your demonstrator. If you're not currently working with someone, please think about it, and if you are interested in the products, I would love to be your demonstrator and help you with any of your Stampin' Up! Needs. Before we go, I do want to close with what I always say in closing, and that's let everything that you do and say bring glory to our Father in heaven. He is so worthy. Let's always give Jesus the praise and the glory that he so richly deserves. So until we craft again, God bless and keep you, and bye-bye.